Hello and welcome to the Level Up Agent Network podcast. My name is Zac Shipley. Today I am joined with an old friend of mine, Kyle Olson, running from KW out in Fargo, North Dakota. Kyle, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. It is actually finally, I think, spring for the first or second or third time. We're not sure. Spring again here in Fargo.
Yeah, we had some windows open here in Milwaukee this week, which was nice. Not last week. We had tornado warnings 3 out of 4 days. But today the weather is supposed to be like, high near 70s. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's almost May and we're talking about potential snow again, but we'll take it.
It happens. So Kyle, you're obviously representing Fargo, North Dakota. I think people are aware of that town, just on a name basis. But what's the market like there? Like what's your experience there?
Yeah, so the market here has always been kind of sheltered from the ups and downs of the coasts, but it's always been a kind of a traditional market where it just keeps growing in the spring and kind of picks up. Average price around that 350 to 400 range in the area for a decent home, and it keeps it's going good. Still having problems just like a lot of other neighborhoods as far as that first time home buyer house, finding that inventory has always been low lately, but same struggles as across the nation probably.
Okay. All right. Well, something that the way we originally got connected was a referral you passed to me for a client here in Wisconsin, and obviously I started following you after that and realizing that you've got a really interesting part of your business with the Alzheimer's Association, this longest open house thing, and so I definitely want to tell everybody listening and watching now, we are going to talk about that, but I do want to dial back just a little bit. Where did you start out? Like, where'd you go to school? Where'd you grow up?
Yeah, so I grew up actually here in the Fargo-Moorhead area. Was a Moorhead spud and then a cobber. So I've been both fighting vegetables. Cobbers are corn cobs. So, very very frightening out there. But then I met my wife in college and we went out to Milwaukee and we were out there for about 8 years, which never met Zac when I was out there, which I'm sad about. But now coming back, we got a connection out there as well, and got into real estate when I got back here and said, yeah, this was a good way for me to grow. I was always one of those who was more of a behind the scenes type of guy. I did theater stuff back in the day, as well as computer stuff. And so I was like, how do I stay behind the scenes? And so I was doing that. I was working from home for quite a while before COVID, before it was popular to work from home. But I found out when I was doing that my wife was out all day long, and at night I wanted to go out and do something because I needed that interaction with people. I wasn't getting the interaction. And so I was talking to some friends online, and they're like, how do you, get some more interaction? And I was looking for what would be a good combination for me. And I found that real estate opened up that opportunity for me because it allowed me both the technical side, the fun side of building things, of doing websites, of doing videos for people, but then also allowed me to have that connection with people and really go through the biggest piece of their biggest investment. So it was really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so you jumped into real estate. You're obviously you start working with buyers, sellers, and working through through that. And I realize this may be a sensitive topic, but it's also like it's your claim to fame. You ended up taking care of your father, who was suffering from Alzheimer's during that time. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, my dad was a farmer, was a great guy. He was always out there in the fields working all summer long. I remember him, we wouldn't really go to the lake because he would have to go out there, and the weather was good. Got to go plant the fields, got to go work in the fields. And was forced to retire from that as his dementia kicked in, and he was losing some of that short-term memory loss about 16 years before he passed. And so, watching him go through 16 years of dementia was tough because a lot of those conversations that you want to have as a dad, you want to say, hey, I'm excited for my kids, or I want to talk to you about, those big pieces. And a lot of those conversations ended up being very, very shallow because it was a reminder of, hey, what did you do today? And it would continue to go back into that that path every 5-10 minutes. We go back to, oh, what'd you do today? And so it was happy times, but it wasn't deep conversation times.
Yeah.
So seeing him go through that and seeing him, just struggle with remembering, what was going on during the day. Sometimes remembering who my mom was, sometimes remembering where home was really tough. So one time I remember we were there and he wanted to go home. He's like, I want to go home. And we are in his home. So I'm like, okay, how do I get him to go home? What does home mean to him? And he can remember this house address. He had moved during this time. He remembered this new house address was 2212, but it didn't seem like home. So I went outside and I showed him the front of the house, 2212, and it still wasn't home. So he hopped in his car and was angry, was upset, and wanted to go home. Started driving. It was just tough to see going through that he, couldn't get to the home that he knew was home in his mind. So as a realtor, I was like, I need to fight this. I don't want my kids forgetting where their home is. There's so many memories, so many things that happen in our home.
Yeah. And so you started, obviously working with the Alzheimer's Association, as a kind of reaction to this. And I really tapped into the idea of, we talk a lot about, helping people and doing good works as part of our journey through real estate, because this is a highly, let's be honest, this could be a highly profitable business. There's a lot of like very wealthy realtors out there. And if you're any kind of good person, part of what you do is you go like, well, what can I do with the money that I'm making here? You can't spend it all on yourself. You got to look for people to take care of. And so it's not uncommon for people to find a cause to get behind. And this is a really good cause to get behind yourself, and not just put like part of your commission check towards that. And not just like volunteering at their events or their fundraising things, but like creating your own thing. I mean, I could see the posters right behind you there. When did the longest open house start? Like, what was year one for that?
Yeah. So for me, like I said, I didn't want to see my dad or my kids go through this. I watched my dad go through it. I put him in the home that his dad was in when he had dementia, and he never wanted to go there. So when he passed, I was like, I don't want this to happen to my kids. How can I be active in this? How can I make a change? Like you said, I mean, we have the opportunity to have a lucrative career. So I was like, well, how can I give a portion of that commission back to those who are going through it, and also to reach out to those who are currently going through it, because I've lived it, right? I mean, who better to help somebody move and transition through a house than to have somebody who's lived through this a little bit. So I started giving back a large portion of my commission, and I made a commitment. I wanted to raise $100,000 because, in bold, we're talking about make those large, bold commitments, right? So I made a big bold commitment of I want to raise $100,000. The problem was I didn't know how I was going to do it at the time. I had no clue how I was going to make $100,000 donation, because I wasn't even making $100,000 income. So
Yeah,
you get to give away less than you make.
yeah. You have to set that goal. I mean, it's a big goal, but you do have to kind of realize that, like, oh, I still need to eat too.
Exactly.
I'm not any good. I'm not going to do my job if I'm just living out of my car and eating cans of beans.
Exactly. So I was like, well, okay, how do I make this bigger? How do I do something different? And giving back was good. It was starting to grow my business a little bit, which is fantastic on a side part of it. But again, how do I grow bigger? And so started looking at or brainstorming, like, what is the quintessential thing of real estate? And that's the open house, right? I mean, everybody knows at least an open house about real estate. So I was like, okay, well, that's the item, the influence. Now, how do I connect that? And so at the time they were having what was called the longest stay campaign. And so I was like, well, okay, longest, that's a good word. So longest, when we pull it with the open house, I'm like, well, what does that look like? What is a longest open house? So I started Google searching and found that there was like a 60 some hour open house out there. I was like, well, they can do 60 hours. I can totally beat that. So we did 62 hours that year, and it just continues to grow from there as to the longest open house. And now we're on to our sixth year of it, and it's really cool to see it growing.
All right. And I know almost anyone listening or watching, if they haven't heard of this before, they're really questioning the logistics of this. So what does a 60+ hour open house look like? You're in the house the entire time, or on
I
the
am.
property, really. I mean, you can go outside, obviously. You're not going home to go to bed. You're staying in the house, correct?
That is correct. I'm staying in the house. I'm staying there the entire time. The first year was me staring at a wall and hoping people would show up. I was like, hey, we might have a few people in the third shift that might want to come and look at a house at midnight. There wasn't a lot in Fargo. Surprise, surprise.
Mm.
So it ended up having to become more of a community event. We had to keep adding more and more events there to bring people out throughout the entire weekend. So that's one of the big pieces, is adding community events to it. But then, like you said, the logistics. How do I stay awake, or how do I hold an open house for 3 days straight? And that became, we started to play around with either streaming the entire event, which was way too long and nobody wanted to watch 60 some hours of a web stream. So I started doing a stream every hour. So I pop on every hour and give an update of what it's like to be in a home the entire time. So even throughout the night, I'll take a 45-minute nap or something like that if there's nobody in the house. But then I'll do a live stream every hour about, what's going on at 3 a.m. in this house. What does it sound like? What am I thinking about? What's going on at 5 a.m.? What is the sunrise like? And so kind of continuing to go through what it's like to live in a home and to share about that. And then what other things you can do in that home. Or sometimes even crazy things beyond what you can do in a home. Like in the back, you'll see I had professional wrestling in the home, which not probably a lot of people do in their regular home. But when you get to do a fantastic open house, you get to have fun things like that as well.
Yeah, so this is I think that's the thing that really drew me to this event, is that, like, oh, you weren't just staying in the house. You went like, okay, what's all the things we can do to involve the community? What's some fun things we can get to attract people? Because the goal was not to sell the house. I mean, if you sell the house like a normal open house, that's usually the goal. But the goal was not to sell the house. The goal was to break a record, grow some awareness, get some donations, and involve as many people as possible. So it's clever to say, like, how can I get people who are not in the market at all to still come by and recognize that we're doing something, and then maybe make a little donation or something to the cause. So when you're having activities like this, like, where does that start? Who are you involving? Like, what was your first big kind of side activity?
Yeah, so again, it was finding those people who were connected to the cause. I had to find somebody who also had a cause, because at 60 some hours, I couldn't afford to hire events to come out either. I can't pay for a band to be out there and play for 60 some hours. So I had to find somebody who was connected with the cause, who had gone through something similar. And just talking and being open and saying, hey, I'll provide the venue for you. I'll provide, some added exposure for you, and how do we partner to make something that's going to work here. So it started out with a couple of people who wanted to do some music in the garage. It started out with some quick bake sale ideas, or a dance class, a yoga class. I mean, those easy things that you really doesn't take a lot of energy or supplies, I guess. By getting them out there, and then continuing to grow to find bigger things, and connecting with, like I said, Below Zero Wrestling, and doing. He had a big connection to it. He wanted to do. He remembered from being a kid, he wanted to do wrestling in a home, and so I was able to help him fulfill that dream, as well as him helping to fight Alzheimer. So it was really cool to find those symbiotic relationships.
Now, when I know enough about pro wrestling that this is not exactly a injury-free thing. Like, they're signing waivers, right? Like, they're not using the staging furniture to break chairs over someone's head, or anything, are they?
No, there's no broken staging furniture.
But
I was able to get in the ring and body slam a guy, which I never would have thought it wouldn't happen, especially at an open house. But
yeah, are they do they set up a ring in the yard, or like actually in the house?
In the backyard is what they've done. Yep.
Okay, it's awesome. Yeah, it's just so interesting to say, okay, well, what else can we do to bring people out here? And I'm a big fan of events. My team does events pretty regularly to bring our clients in and say thank you, and also to help usher in new clients. As I meet people, I say, hey, come to the movie event we're going to do. Come to this other thing. And so then when they're ready to make some kind of change, then it's I'm the one that's top of mind. And I think a lot of realtors do that, I think it's really excellent that you've tapped into also like the, obviously a good cause here too, but really thinking outside the box on what connections actually mean to people and how they, like the band that comes in and plays, you may not realize that that like they maybe didn't know how to do something like this. And like you said, the pro wrestling guys, like the guy wanted to always have a something in a house, like we never gotten that opportunity. So you're fulfilling needs for these people, but also raising awareness. So you've been tacking on an hour each year to kind of like bring the record up. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, one of the things I also realized early on in this process is that when you're sharing your passion, people will step behind you, right? And that's the big thing. And so my passion had to be big and grandiose for people to really want to step behind it. So there was talks about like, okay, we do this open house and we do, you do 4 hours, well, somebody else come in for 4 hours, but it wasn't like, if you start breaking it down like that, there's not a lot of passion behind it. It's just a marketing ploy. So the passion had to come from truly having some sort of a feat behind it, but then stepping with it. And so I think that helped to grow everything, as well as showing that passion and sharing that, I'm willing to step up and do something. Will you join me in it?
Yeah. And you've gotten some copycats now, well, not copycats, but I guess like the people who are joining you also doing the longest open house. I've done it a couple years myself. I'm not hitting 60 hours, but spending 12 hours in a house, still a good long time. And we had a great time. The thing I realized about it myself when I was in there is that, like, yeah, okay, if we sell the house, that's great. But also, like, I got to make a lot more connections with vendors, with other people in my community, people I don't normally get to talk to, and how many people were just ready and willing to jump in to help with something like that. Sometimes when you're asking for sponsors and help for other parts of your business, it can be like pulling teeth. It can be really difficult. But when you ask for something, like for them to donate their services to help out with a cause, like it's really shocking how much people just like go like, oh yeah, no problem. How much do I need to write the check for? That's the question I get more so often.
And Alzheimer's is a huge thing. We are, one of the top causes of death in the United States. It's bigger than both breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. So it's amazing to see that so many people are affected. You can always find somebody who's affected by it, who has been, and they have their stories. And so we can connect on a cause like that too.
Mm-hmm. And inevitably, because it affects older people, it's always affecting our parents, our grandparents, our uncles, our aunts, and we don't know whether it's going to affect, like, I don't know if it's ever going to affect me directly until I get like way down the line. Well, by that point, like, there's nothing, because we don't like, just to take a side note here, like, as far as like diagnosis goes, I mean, it's diagnosis is clear, but like we don't have a really clear cause on like what makes Alzheimer's on set, outside of the fact that just like it affects older people mostly. Is that correct? Like, we don't have there's not like someone can say like, oh yeah, you're eating too many chicken sandwiches cause Alzheimer's.
Exactly. Yeah. There are some good things for your brain health, but there's nothing that says that this is the actual cause that you can definitely avoid to not get that. So it is interesting, though. We are in a point where there is blood tests that'll now tell you if you have it or if you're kind of a precursor to it, which is fantastic. So now we have an opportunity to see if we're going to be developing it, as well as potential treatments that are going to be able to slow it down. So really cool that the process that we've made with the funds the billions that have been raised across the U.S. have made some of those treatment opportunities for it. But yes, you're right. We don't know what caused it, and we won't, you can't just avoid it. And so we have to continue the fight to be able to find that treatment or that cure once we do have it. And that's the $1 million question is, how do we get to that? Because I would love to not see, a third of the United States have dementia before they pass away.
Yeah. So you raised a fair amount of money for this cause already, and I know that you also have gained some notoriety for it. It was like 2-3 years ago. Like was it NAR or somebody like did a profile on you, or one of the big like organizations that did an article about about your August open house?
Yeah. So, like I said, I wanted to raise $100,000 when I started into it. 2-3 years ago, NAR was able to pick up the story that we had set the world record, and Inman talked about it. Ended up receiving a Good Neighbor Award for the Volunteer Works Award from NAR. So that was really cool to help us to grow the process. And then recently was named a cultural ambassador for Keller Williams and got to talk on Mega Camp's stage about it. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to share the awareness of how this process can be easily adapted for other realtors to tie in a charitable open house to our longest open house to create even bigger ripples across the United States, to tie in with my 67-hour event, because obviously I don't know a lot of crazy people like me who want to go 67 hours. Even though I continue to talk Zach into it every year, he keeps telling me no. He's not that crazy. I get it. But we keep trying to find those crazy people, but we want to provide the playbook for people to do something similar, right? And so we've started a community with that. We've started just providing the resources that we've developed over the years on how ours works. So we can try and get something bigger. And our goal this year, between June and July, is to have 200 hours of open houses across the country.
Wow.
So I had my 67 hours, you add your 4 to 8, 12-hour event to it, and eventually we get to 200 hours, and maybe that makes a ripple throughout every state in the United States. And how can we start to grow as realtors to fight this together?
It's such it's a big goal, but it's such an attainable goal, because when you start talking about everybody doing a little bit, everybody adding on, I mean, 200 hours, if you're providing 67, then, you know, like you said, you're already
more hours. We can do that.
It's exactly. It's you're already like almost a third of the way there.
Yeah.
So just go.
So we're finding 3 other crazy people like me, or, find a bunch of other people who want to do some similar, more manageable open houses.
Yeah. So any agent who wants to do a long open house, whether it is like 2, 3, 4 hours, or go up to 12 or or bigger, should definitely be reaching out to you for those resources. I mean, and I want to give you some credit here. You provided like Canva templates and all these like ideas, and masterminding with agents on a weekly basis right now. How many people do you have kind of like in that like committed state for 2026? Like do you have an idea of like how many people are potentially going to be doing it this year?
We're actually a little bit short of what I was hoping for 2026, so we're on the push to finding more of them. I think we're only at about a handful of them, so we're not nearly as far as I was hoping to be, but we're in April, so we got time. So get connected to it. We're starting, like I said, a weekly webcast on it where you can hop in. We'll give you show you where the tools are, show you where the Canva templates are to make it easy. We've reduced the website stuff to make it easy for you to sign up with the Alzheimer Association, make the fundraising super easy this year. So hopefully we make it as easy as we can to have you join the cause and to join the movement.
And even I now have been part of the Alzheimer's Association for for I guess like 3 years or so since we started doing this. I get the regular emails and everything from them, and like they're putting on interesting events, at least in my area, like all the time. And so it really made sense for them to, we still have the longest day and the longest open house, obviously, your brand, but they've kind of moved away from the idea of just like, oh no, we're not just going to do the longest day. We want to do other stuff, and so it still ties in to what you're doing. Because I think the new tagline is just to do what you love.
That is correct. Do what you love. It's so easy, right? We always do it, and when you share that love and you add a little bit of a fundraising component to it, it's
Mhm.
super easy. So it could be as simple as doing a movie night. You could do a cornhole tournament. You could do all kinds of ways to raise funds, and super easy.
Yeah. So how many open houses do you do a year aside from the big one? Like, do you do do you do are you am I going to find you there on a Saturday afternoon, like having people sign in and stuff, or is this like your one open house that you do every year?
Being an agent for 10 years, the sphere has picked up for me. So I haven't been doing nearly as many open houses lately. I've
Mhm.
been doing mentoring open houses. So helping new agents get into doing open houses. But yeah, I'm not necessarily out there every weekend doing open houses anymore. But
Yeah.
this has been as well. This is my lead generation. So it's reaching out to people, reaching out to lenders, reaching
Mhm.
out to insurance agents, all those pieces that we typically want to do. But I'm reaching out to them to support the open house as well. So my business has transitioned into not just having to sit there on Saturdays doing open houses, but reaching those bigger fish who hopefully have 5 or 10 referrals from me throughout the year to make my
Mhm.
business grow as well, while I'm handling my cause and not having to cold call, because I hated that part. I'm
Yeah.
cold calling for a reason now. All right.
Yeah. And I've said this to other folks about when you're making calls to your clients, your database, your phone book, or whatever you want to call it, um, looking for business. It's not everybody wants to get that call. They may be hesitant to answer if they know you're just going to call and say, "Hey, who do you know who wants to buy or sell or invest in real estate?" And especially if they don't have that answer for you. But
Mm,
if you're calling around a cause or a big event or inviting them to something, then it's so much easier to make that call, because it's not about you or even about them. It's about this other thing, this other bigger thing that the two of you can work on, going forward. And so I really encourage a lot of folks to, if it's the Alzheimer's Association, great, we can do that. But like, just find anything. But I mean, there's probably is a cause that hits close to your family. Like, find a way to raise money and awareness around that cause, so that you can do bigger things with it.
absolutely. I mean, we've had people doing food drives and clothing drives and all those other things. Again, easy ways
Mhm.
to make those phone calls way easier than, like you said, buy a house now. Want to buy a
Mhm.
house? Anybody want to buy a house?
Yeah, and people are only gonna, are more likely to, you want to be remembered as like the philanthropic person. You want like what people are going to be more likely to work with you in the future if they know that we always talk about people like and trust. Well, that builds trust really quickly if they know that you're giving everything you've got into a cause that they really believe in, even if they do not necessarily fall into that category. I'm a prime example of that. Like, to the best of my knowledge, I don't have any family members who have suffered from Alzheimer's directly, but I also recognize that this does affect a lot of people, and because you're so passionate about it, it basically it transferred over to me. So the transfer of enthusiasm really works here, and that's what builds a big business, when people get excited about stuff.
Now you've been doing this for 3 years. Have you started to have people asking you about when your next longest open house is?
Not yet.
Okay.
I haven't had haven't had people ask me the question yet. It might be like they're just assuming that's going to happen. Uh,
Because I'll have people
Part of this,
all spring long. They're like, "Oh, when's your next open house? When's it coming?" And to
yeah.
me, that is also the big piece, because I'm staying top of mind with these people,
Mhm.
right? So, I mean, I could be out there trying to sell them a house all the time, and I'm not top of mind. But when I have something like this cause behind it, that top of mind
Yeah.
is just locked in.
Yeah, it's whatever people associate with you. So that now on for that note, like, the things that people do associate with me, yeah, they're all asking me about it all the time. So it's whatever you can bring up and raise awareness around. And so for my part, no one's asked me about that directly. However, people do ask me about some of the other stuff that I do, whether it's like music or comedy or other stuff around the community. And so I just try to just bring that into whatever event I'm doing. So for instance, last year when I did the longest open house in Milwaukee, I brought in a band that I was like, kind of friends with, and worked with in the past, to play like an acoustic set in the house, when we were doing this. And I had a friend who had a big like video game truck, like a big trailer that had like video games inside it. So he brought that out, played some Mario Kart in the parking lot. It was a condo, so we had like a big parking lot there. And that was just using those connections we had in order to bring something bigger and more fantastic to the event. It was just really great. So Kyle, you've been obviously doing this for a long time, and some people are watching this and realizing that they really want to get involved. Step one, if someone is an agent watching this and they want to get involved, where do they go? Where do they start?
Yeah, so we got a little bit of a landing page. We'll put that down in the comments here for you to hit that link. But once we get you into there, you can join into our fantastic portal of opportunities where we have chat for you to connect with. We've got an actual learning course in there as well as the links for you. So really just go ahead and fill out that form, and we'll get you all connected into doing your longest open house and making it easy for you with all the Canva templates out there and everything.
Mm-hmm. And if somebody is not necessarily thinking they want to do this themselves, but they want to give to the cause, you've got all the donation opportunities on that site as well, or is there a separate place to do?
Yeah, you can just go to the longest open house if you want to learn all the more information about the open house, what's happened on the past. Longestopenhouse.com has all the information, as well as to make donations directly on there to the Alzheimer's Association, which is 100% tax deductible on whatever your tax might be, I guess.
All right, now I'm going to pull up my calendar here so that I can make sure I mark this. When is your longest open house this year? Like
my longest open house will be 67 hours. Will be June 25th through the 28th in Fargo, North Dakota. So yeah, it'll be a blast. We'll have all kinds of things, like I said, wrestling there, as well as we'll have dinosaurs coming up with some donuts as well for Sunday morning. We're adding a garage sale this year. We're doing a block party on Thursday night with it. So lots of fun activities starting to roll in for it, but always opportunities to add more things as well.
Okay, so yeah, anybody in Fargo who wants something to do or a cause to get involved in should also reach out to you. And I look forward to helping you kind of promote this as we get closer and closer to the day, because yeah, we are only 2 months out. Do you have the address for the house that you're going to be doing this at yet?
Not on top of my head, but on our website. Don't worry.
Okay. That's honestly, it's one of the toughest things, to just be perfectly honest. One of the toughest things around doing this is like, well, where am I supposed to do this house? Because I do almost no new home sale, new build business. So I have to try to find somebody who's like looking to sell like in June, and they're not going to be in the house for 12 hours. It's like last year I did get a new build. I'm like, oh, this is so easy. There's not like there's staging furniture, but there's not like people's stuff here the whole time. So I'm looking forward to. I do have some builders and other people to reach out to. So hopefully we can get that all set and again join your cause. And I think that weekend and I think another thing that I'm learning here, because we've kind of decoupled from the longest day, is that I don't want to compete with you for the same time. So I might do mine like the weekend after or something like that. That way I can kind of promote you while you're doing yours, and you can promote me while I'm doing
Absolutely. That's the best part about it.
We could just add it up. So nobody has to think about doing doing it all at the same time, because you're just looking to have 200 hours of open houses, by the end of July or whenever that fundraising period ends. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect.
In July. Lots of time,
Kyle,
especially if you're doing a 4 to 8 hour one. You can do that in a month.
Yeah, and also there's no rule around open houses that you have to do it on a Saturday or a Sunday. Just find a house. This is general advice for realtors at this point. Do an open house on a Wednesday. It's like just make that your work day. Bring your laptop to the house, open up a hotspot, and do all the calls and emails you're going to do just from
Well,
just
and you
from
did a creative one a couple
yeah.
years ago where you were just doing a virtual one for your office, right? Where you were
That's correct. Yeah,
showcasing different homes. You popped them up on your stream, and you just did fundraising right from your office and said, "Hey, here's this house that's out there. Here's this house that's out there." And I think that worked out great for you, didn't it?
Yeah, when we did we tried to do a house and we couldn't get one, so I said, well, I'll just do live streams from the office. I'm just going to stay here all day, and we went through some online listings of current houses for sale. Went through with the what's the Zillow Gone Wild website to try to do walkthroughs of some really silly websites, because obviously, like, we've got if people are watching, you want to keep them entertained. And then even there's a video game called House Flipper, and so I played that for a little while, because that's kind of real estate related. So let's flip a house while we're doing it, and keep the donation tally down in the corner while we're doing it. So that's certainly an option for me. Just involving the wider real estate community into it, if we just do it from the office. And I know there's lots of agents who are interested in this stuff as well. So Kyle, thank you again for joining us. Really looking forward to seeing how this year works out, and then obviously continuing on through 2027, 2028, and hopefully, but at some point in the near future, you won't need to do this anymore.
When Alzheimer stops, we'll stop, I guess. So we'll keep going.
Yeah. All right. So knock on wood. You only got to do it for maybe one more year.
Sounds perfect.
Then you could just do the open house for a long time, just for giggles.
Yeah, for funsies.